Adventures calling, treasure awaits. Join us on a journey, let's open the gates. Welcome to the pod where the treasure is found. X marks the pod, let's gather around.
Hey, welcome to X Marks the Pod. We're very excited to bring you our first episode of this podcast that is built for treasure hunters by actual treasure hunters. So before we get started, I want to have a chance for my co-hosts here to introduce themselves. Jawz, go ahead and give them some information.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Jawz. Been boots on the ground about 20-ish times. Been out searching for some boxes. So a lot of on-the-ground experience and excited to share some thoughts with everybody.
Excellent, excellent. And our other fabulous co-host, Megan. Megan, say hi.
Hey, all. I'm excited to start this. Hesitant, but excited.
Very good. Thank you for that thorough description of your excitement. So,
and who are you?
Well, yeah, I'm Bruce on the ground. I've longtime treasure hunter, hopefully treasure finder is what I'm trying to aspire to. So, man, it's great that we have this forum that we're able to share with you guys and share our experiences. Jawz is the one that came up with this idea. So I want to kind of let him, like, why now? Why us? Why everything? Why are we doing this?
That's a lot of whys. So just to give y'all a general idea, Bruce, Megan, and I have all had widely different ideas of where we think the box is. Bruce is consistently in the same state. I'm consistently in the same state. Megan's consistently in the same state, but all different places. So we've all looked into a lot of different places, all have a lot of different thoughts and backgrounds and ideas on where we think the box is. So I thought it would be really cool if we could all get together and just show everybody in the community what it's like to have different opinions and varying opinions, but still respect each other, because these are two of my favorite people on the message board. So I thought it would be great for the three of us to just get together and hash out some ideas together.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's very interesting. Jawz and I hit it off from an early time on the boards, and relentlessly give each other a lot of crap. But it's all out of respect and love, and I welcome the thought of being able to have this discussion, because exactly what you said. Like, we'll be able to really dive into different solves, and again, we come from very different perspectives. In fact, we never agree on anything on Discord, the three of us, but we're able to make it work and still be friends and actually have a podcast together. So in that vein, I want to kind of talk with each of you about our different methodologies. How do we approach our solves? Megan, do you want to go first? Like, give us an idea what goes through your head. How do you figure out what's a clue, and how do you figure out what routes to go down when you're looking for boxes?
Sure. I just keep rereading the chapter, and when words pop out at me, I'm plugging them right into the Chat GPT. I'm always charging it to Arkansas, so it's only looking in Arkansas for me. I'm pulling up trail names. I'm looking at the shapes and all of the body parts. I'm never sticking to one main idea, and so I think that is eliminating all of the bias for me, that I can go from place to place and say, okay, this is an idea, go down that route, and then eliminate it if it doesn't work out. I am reading the chapter over and over to my family as we're walking. You know, do you see this? So they've got it memorized as well. Yeah, I think just by not choosing one location, it might be helpful for me to be able to go everywhere, since I'm close, and say, yep, this is a good spot, or no, nope, this is not a good spot.
Well, very good. I do have to complain that you've totally made Chat GPT Arkansas friendly. Like, I can't even seem to get it to look at anything else. It always kicks back, what about Arkansas? What about Arkansas? I'm like, damn you, Megan, stop doing that. So Megan, what I appreciate about you is that you're very creative, and you're very outside the box thinker, and you're always looking at these different threads. And again, you know, there's only gonna, I mean, they might be a clue, they might not be a clue, but you're willing to throw them out there. and kind of let the community decide for themselves. Like, is this valid? Is this
Right.
something that I need to look at? So again, like I said, you and I, we're on different ends of the spectrum on this thing. But I definitely can appreciate what you're bringing to the community and how you open up a lot of discussion for folks and a chance for people to compare their solves. So that's why I'm glad that you're on this podcast and we can able to share different opinions. Jawz, I feel like you're kind of in the middle somewhere between me and Megan, and but tell me how you approach your stuff.
So when it comes to looking at different areas, I am the complete polar opposite of what Megan just said. I have been at the same location over 20 times now, same area searching. Uh, I don't know if you'll remember this, Bruce, but a long time ago when we first met on the boards, you asked me this question. You said, when do you stop going to that place? And my answer was, when something tells me I'm wrong or a clue proves me wrong. And so I've still been searching at the same place, boots on the ground, all these times, and I keep finding more things that line up for me. I just haven't found the box. So, but I will tell you, I have been to 3 or 4 different locations before I found this one, and I'm stuck on it. So I do know when to call it quits, but this one has me stuck. So I think this is the place. And until something tells me otherwise, I'm back there. I'm going to be there probably again next week.
Very good. That's and Jawz, that's what I admire about you, buddy, is the fact that you are, once you decide, you're like a dog with a bone, man. When you're on it, you're on it. And so I won't say the CB words, but we all have, confirmation bias. Obviously, we all have it. But you, I mean, you've definitely, like you said, and you are nice enough to share your different ideas with me privately on DMs, and you're like, hey, look at this and look at that, and how this matches up, and definitely, I definitely can see where you're coming with your solves, and why you persist in this area. I guess. No,
I mean, it's not Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like, man, we're all in love with ourselves, and if you keep finding things that match up with it, it's hard to ignore it, and it's hard to let it go. So. Kudos to you for your dedication, because I mean, you've told me like you'll go out there and you'll drive all night and sleep in your car and be ready, you know what I mean, like that kind of dedication to this box. So I'm just super impressed with the level of commitment that you're showing with that, and how that's going for you. So good on you. You're wrong, but good on you. Yes, I'm definitely the outlier of the group. I'm in the I'm the Alabama guy for the Pokemon box, at least when we're talking about that one. But I definitely look at things in a more analytical, I think, more analytical and kind of logical, straightforward way, and following the Froakie story is my, it's my roadmap, and I walk it all the way down, and I stay pretty much confined to that. So it's definitely a different thing, and I feel like I'm pretty good at going. I'll find places that look great on paper, and I'll get there and I'll go, nope, this ain't it. I've probably been to a dozen places in Alabama before landing in the spot that I'm at now. But yeah, definitely some different methodologies going on, and we won't get into details now, but we definitely disagree on a lot of what clues are and what they aren't. So. Let's talk about how much time we've been on boots on the ground for different boxes. I know you guys is probably exclusively for Pokemon, but I want to give me an idea of like how many times you've been, number of days boots on the ground, to kind of establish some kind of credibility with folks. Like, yeah, we're no joke, we're out there, we're looking, we're hunting. Megan, give us an idea of like how often you've been boots on the ground.
Sure. We started back in February, I think, and we actually, our first trip was to Missouri. So it didn't start in Arkansas. It started in Missouri. Then I explored Indiana, and I haven't made a boots on the ground there, but I really liked the idea of it. And even if it's not there, I still want a vacation to the spot that I went. And then I got stuck on Irby Campground. And so my family was going every weekend. We would only do 1-day trips, and we would spend the entire day there just knocking off the trails. And so we pretty much know all of Irby. Then we did another weekend where we did spend 2 days around Jasper, took out some trails there. And then I got on the idea of another location. And so we traveled there 1 day and realized, okay, this has got to be a 3-day trip. So that's on our schedule for next weekend. And then we may just jump in and meet with Jawz, because this week he's really convinced me he might be right. So if he makes one false move, I'll get in the car and go tomorrow.
Very good. How many total days do you think you've spent boots on the ground since it's all
Oh, I would guess 20.
20?
Probably
Okay.
20. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Jawz, give me your story. Like I know you've been boots on the ground like 7 of the last 10 days or something like that. Like you're the living definition of die hard, man. Let's hear your story.
So crazy thing is, my job moved me to our virtual department in January. And so now I work from home, or I work from wherever I go with my laptop. So it's really been a blessing for me in this job and going there to hunt at the same time. This past week I drove up and I worked from 5 in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon. My boss lets me work as long as I get my hours in. And then I'm on the trail by 12:30 in the afternoon doing some hiking and searching and looking for clues. I started, man, I'm ashamed I was on the BNR hype train at the beginning. I spent my first trip there. I got to Jasper at about 1:30, 2 in the morning, driving through the night after work. Parked my car in the Dollar General parking lot and slept in their parking lot because I had nowhere else to go. Spent the first boots on the ground there, went to Hemden Hollow, hiked it for maybe 15 minutes and said there's no way it's on this trail. Like, this is extreme. He's not going to put a box on this trail. But my big theory for that area, sometimes it's called Twin Falls, sometimes it's called Triple Falls. I went there and searched my second and third boots on the ground. Something just told me it was wrong. Maybe it's the fact that I got a flat tire on the road going down into it, because the road is a train wreck. If you want to steal my idea and go search there, don't go without a 4-wheel drive car. You're not going to get out. Thankfully,
we got stuck on the road as well.
Yeah, I had my Jeep down in there, so I did all right, but I did get a flat while I was there. And since then, I've kind of moved to the location I'm at now. I don't want to disclose it yet, but I've been there at least 19, 20 times now there. And like Bruce said, I spent 7 of the last 10 days boots on the ground up there. I came home, and then just going over stuff after I came home, I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. I need to go back up. That's the thing that I shared with you and Megan, both in private message. And I was like, I got to go back up and look in that area. And as I discussed on the message board, I climbed up on top of this rock face that I believe is a match for what's in the book and searched up there. And I did get that area searched pretty well, but then right as I was about done, man, a nasty storm rolled in, and I had to climb down before I was stuck on top of the mountain and got out of there. So now I'm just waiting for next week. I'll be going back up probably next weekend.
Wow. That's some serious commitment there. For everybody else, I'll be posting Jawz's search location on our Instagram page for you to check out. So don't worry about that. I'll start with my boots on the ground and for Pokemon. I've been 5 times to Alabama, just Alabama. I locked into that one right off the bat. It was one of the first things I kind of locked into, and I haven't moved off of that. But again, I started up in the Huntsville area, and that didn't pan out, and so I opened up the aperture a little bit, and so. But yeah, 5 trips out there. At like 3 days a pop probably, so 15 days of boots on the ground there. I also somehow started doing doing Justin Posey's the Beyond the Map's Edge. I didn't mean to. I looked at it one day and at somebody's urging and actually thought I saw some stuff that made some sense. So off to Montana I went. Made 4 trips to Montana. I've spent about 2 weeks total in Montana. It's beautiful. I've never been to Montana, so that's kind of cool. That's the other great thing about being boots on the ground, is like getting to see these places that I've never seen before and experience it. So that's been cool. But I'm kind of frustrated with that one. Maybe we can talk about that one another day. And then the main box I've been searching for is the Forest Fen box, because I live in Colorado and I believe it's in Colorado, even if it's on the other side. I think it's on the other side of the state. But I've been out there a dozen times, at least probably 20 plus days total. And oh my gosh, and kind of like you, Jawz, like that's like, I know it's there somewhere, I just can't figure out where to find that bread box and you know, a million haystacks out there to look. So, but I'm undeterred. I haven't found anything that's kept me from going back out there. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with boots on the ground. And as you can see, like there's a wide variety of it. You know, we're predominantly focused on the Pokemon box, but definitely going to be talking about other ones. So yeah, it's going to be fun. What appealed to you guys about the Pokemon box? Jawz, I'll let you go first on that one.
So the easiest way to put it, and I bet Megan's going to have the same answer, is after reading the chapter, it seemed like it was the closest one to me. So I thought I'm going to go gung-ho on that one. I will confess, I've been cheating on the Pokemon box, and I've started looking into the Appalachian Footpath box now. So maybe some clues and solves to come later on our videos for that. Worked out a pretty good theory for it. I'm just still not ready to book the flight, since that one's a little more travel for me than just driving my car 6.5 hours and camping out.
Very good. Megan, what appeals to you about the Pokemon box?
So my family and I have been hiking Arkansas in November for around 8 years. We hiked up here in November 3 years in a row, and then decided to move here. And we happened to be on a hike on Goat Bluff Trail when the newscast came across that a woman, she worked for a school district, and her husband were out at Hemden Hollow, and that they were searching for a treasure. And I immediately recognized the location that she was at, because we've been hiking here for years now. And I was like, if there's treasure right there, right where we're at right now, like we're doing this. And so I got the book and just immediately started recognizing, you know, those obvious Arkansas clues, the Lost Valley, the Hemden Hollow. And I was like, we're doing this, guys. We're out here hiking every weekend anyway, so we might as well be finding treasure while we're doing it. So I read most of part 1. I've never read any other chapters with the smaller boxes about Pokemon.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, that's exciting how you came up with that. I was my sister recommended the book to me, and I opened it, and I was like, you know, I saw the breakdown and how the lion's share was all the I still haven't read the whole book either. I think I've gotten about 50 pages in, maybe on the main part, but you know, I jumped right to the Forest Fen box, and I was like, okay, yeah, wait. I think it might be in Colorado. That might be a place to start. It's only 8 pages long or 4 pages long, whatever. But the Pokemon box appealed to me because I was in a situation where I almost killed myself going out trying to go look for the Forest Fen box because it was too muddy and all that, and it was a disaster. My sister lives in Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee, so she was talking about the Pokemon box, and so since I couldn't look for the Forest Fen box, I decided to check out the Pokemon box. And again, latched on to a couple things. I literally, the same day I started looking at it, I flew out that night to Huntsville. You know, that conversation with my wife was like, so I have something I want to tell you. Don't make dinner for me. I'm flying to Huntsville. Why are you flying to Huntsville? It's a long story. No. So that's kind of what got me interested in it. And my son's always been a big Pokemon fan, and the idea of maybe finding a expensive Charizard for him is kind of a cool thought. So yeah, so that's kind of how we all got there with the Pokemon box. What do we want? Do we want to dive into any of our Pokemon theories or anything that we want to share or divulge, or what kind of led us down that way? We could also talk about, you know, is something a clue or not a clue? We kind of a little talked about that. I know that, but there's a lot of discussion about the pictures of the Froakie and the Greninja, and if they are actual clues or they're just pictures. So I'm assuming you guys have thoughts on that. Yes? No? Megan? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Megan, give me your thoughts. Is it like, so pictures of Froakie, clue or not a clue?
Definitely a clue. Definitely a clue. The only problem is I've been able to make him be a clue in more than one place. And every time I go back, I'm like, wow, that was brilliant. That was genius. But oh wait, he fits over here too. And so there's definitely something going on with his fingers, whether that's like a 3, a 7, a W, a clock. I originally thought that his right hand was showing the time for 4:10. And so I found a pole and a rock, and I was there at 4:10 to see what kind of shadow it cast, because I was sure I was going to find that box in his shadow. And so I've been able to, mutate him, evolve him. I think that my favorite that I got right now is at Jaw's location, and I think that he might fit in there the best. And so while that's disappointing to me, I just like that I figured it out. So I'm definitely Green Ninja. I definitely think he works differently. I think there's a bunch of parts. I've heard several people talk about that this is a game, like a board game, a chess game, a checkers game. I think that he may be the board game that people are playing.
Interesting. Can you share any about what about Froakie leads you to Jaws's location without really getting, without too much?
How about I take that one?
I don't think so.
Like, okay.
Jawz,
okay.
you take that one.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
to answer your question, clue or not a clue, I would say not a clue, but multiple clues. Both of them have multiple
wow.
clues inside of them.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not going to give a ton of details, but I have found the hotel in one of them. I have found the campground in one of them. I have found a trail in one of them.
Wait, who found him? Who found him?
So there's a lot of clues in both of them, I believe. The one clue that's eluding me in both of them, though, where's the box in them? That's my question I'm stuck on. Like, I figured out. So to me right now, where I'm stuck at is I'm wondering if they're the clues to confirm you're in the right area, but there's not a box location on them. I can't find anything that I think is the box on them.
Okay, Jawz, it sounds like you're putting a lot of weight on those AI pictures of Froakie and Greninja to get your solve down. That's, that, again, an interesting approach. What percent do you think is the pictures, and then what percent do you think is the Froakie story, and then even what part is the New Orleans trip or Houston trip?
So the pictures did not get me to my solve. I will be straight up honest about it. Megan and I have figured out the pictures probably within the last 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe we've looked at them together. And before that, like, I knew the hotel was there. I could see that. And I had a thought that it was the campground in one part. And then, was it yesterday, Megan? I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. You were like, does this look like the campground to you? And I was like, that's what I thought it was this whole time. So I didn't get to my solve because of the pictures, but the pictures have kind of helped me feel better about where I am looking, like the more we figure out on them. So I think,
so more of a confirmation of what you've already kind of figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I get that. I'll tell you, like, my initial thoughts on the pictures were that they were just pictures, and I didn't really put a lot of weight in them. There's one thing that someone mentioned to me last week that actually got me thinking. It was the fact that Froakie has a tail on him. Like, the actual Froakie Pokemon does not have a tail. So what does that mean? So I look at that as, like, Froakie is evolving from tadpole to Froakieism, I guess. That's how I look at it, because that kind of goes along with it's confirmation for me with my theme of, like, I think this is the family box. I think that it's generational. I think Froakie's the kid in this, and that kind of, to me, is a confirmer of that line of thought. I think we get a perspective of scale from Froakie when John puts a lily pad on his backpack, and Froakie's up there, so that gives us a way to look at it. The other thing that I was talking about with somebody last night, my stepson, actually, we were talking about it, and how John bowed to Froakie but shook hands with the Greninja and the Golem. And that maybe that's because like with little kids, like you don't shake little kids' hands. Like you kind of bow down, maybe pat them on the head or say, "Hey, good to see you, little man," or whatever. And then you shake hands with the adults. Like that he kind of came up with that. I thought that was interesting. So for me, that's what the Froakie thing is. I've not found anything with the Greninja that I think is a clue. Although I've never heard the word Greninja's crotch more in the last 2 days than ever, and probably never want to hear it again. But like I told you guys, like new band name, I called it Greninja's crotch. That's me. So we're yeah. So but definitely interesting. But again, it goes back to like the whole spectrum of how people think and their thought process of getting to the solve thing. It's fascinating to watch. Because like I said, at first I was discounting a lot of that. I think I'm missing something with Greninja. I'm not sure what, other than the crotch, but well, hopefully that'll occur to me. Megan, like, can you give me an idea of like for you, like what kind of how much weight do you put on the trip story at the beginning to Houston, the pictures in the book, or anything else in the book that leads you that way, and the Froakie story? Like what? Give me an idea how much weight each holds, or what you find important in those.
So the trip when he's a kid and he's in New Orleans, if that happened, I don't think it even matters to the story. I think you're going to start at a hotel at your location, near your location, however long it takes you to listen to Coltrane. I think that it's irrelevant that he was in NOLA. I think it's irrelevant he was in Houston. I used to think it mattered why. So I used to look what happened in that year. Why was he there? So that we can figure out what he might have been doing at a hotel. I don't think that matters anymore. I think you are literally on a path from a hotel to a location. I think then his hidden story is maybe the second choose your adventure story. So he's now hiding with Froakie. You're going to end up at the same place that you ended up when you were at the hotel story. So I don't know how to weave in his wedding. I have no idea what to do with that when he's at the wedding. Unless he's just giving credibility to Pokemon. That's all I got. I have no idea with that. The weight with the pictures and the story, I think they just confirm each other. So you can find the story in the pictures. Discord today, someone mentioned that there might be a bird or an owl, or I don't know if they said it was the eagle or the owl, and that they could maybe see that in Greninja's forehead. Well, I've also seen that in the purple picture. And so I went back and I looked at Greninja and I'm like, you know what? They're right. So maybe I need to figure out what the owl represents in the story as well, because there's no owl in the story. So maybe that's a real location we need to find. And so it's kind of just going back and forth. We're playing with the photo, we're playing with the story, we're playing what happened in real life, we're playing what happened when he was a kid. And so it's just, they all hold the exact same weight and they tell the exact same story. And if you can't figure it out here, you may be able to figure it out there.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Interesting approach, and I like the way that you go back and forth and you're looking for different ideas and how the storylines match up. I think the point about it not being in NOLA and not being in Houston, like I'm big on the theory of if he's named it, I don't think it's there. Like that feels very like, especially with the news when John came out and said that the box isn't in Yellowstone, and he talked about like not searching Yellowstone for Forest Fen because he thought it was just too obvious of a location because it was mentioned so much in Forest Fen's book. So I would say that was probably John's mindset going into hiding the box and writing the story. Like, I'm not going to tip my hand here and just give you what the location is. So yeah, kind of on that same page. Jawz, give me your thoughts on your methodology and what section of the chapter is most important, or least important, or important at all.
So I don't think there's any less important part. I think every single part has something to play into the location of the box. I think the stories are all interwoven to where the experience that you're seeing in his childhood story, you're going to see those things where you're going to follow the Froakie story too. Like, I think they're all put together when you find the correct place. You're going to see all of the things. Now, that being said, I will say the page about the Pokemon stats that we all know are wrong at this point, I haven't figured out how all of those play into it yet. I'm still working at that.
Which stats are you talking about?
Like the downloads, the amount of people that played them, the physical copies of the games that were bought.
Oh.
We know none of those numbers are correct at this point. So I don't know why.
So you looked them all up? Okay.
Some of them.
You looked them all up. I'm just curious because I actually looked it up the other day. Because there's over 1 billion downloads of Pokemon Go. So I'm not sure what the numbers are or when he did anyway. What did you find when you looked them up?
So some of the numbers are correct for 2022, I believe it was. But this book wasn't written until after that. So I don't know why he would use stats from 2022, and some of them are just wrong. So they have to be a number clue in some way. One thing that I do think is important, and I'm going to throw this out there, this is one of my things I'm looking for when I'm doing my solve. He tells you early on in the book to make a map. So to me, when I look at these clues, how am I putting them on a map? Like you tell me I'm going to walk past a Magikarp. What's a Magikarp on my map? I need to find a way that this Magikarp is on my map to tell me that I'm in the right place and I'm going in the right direction. So I can't tell you how, because I do think they're different. Each one is different in the way that they do appear on where they are on my map. But I have been working on putting every Pokemon on a map, like whether it's by their Pokédex number, it's something boots on the ground that you're going to see a number for. Could it be a GPS point with their number in it? Like you see, he sees a bunch of Ninjask. They're everywhere, right? I literally found a place on my map where there's 5 different street addresses with a Ninjask Pokédex number. So to me, if I can't put them on a map, there's something wrong, and I haven't figured out that clue yet because he told us to make a map and follow it. So that's kind of what got me to where I am right now. I followed what I thought was the trail that he took with Froakie on his trip. In the last couple of days, Megan might have blown my mind a little, and I might be off on my trip that I've taken. But I think it does end at the place where I am right now, where it's ending. I still think I'm correct in that. I just don't believe I had the beginning of the journey correct at this point.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So
I think that's why.
Oh, go ahead, Megan.
Sorry. I think that's why he tells us the stats for 2022. So if you're not literally boots on the ground and you're walking on Google Maps or Google Earth through all trails, set the pictures, set the screen so it shows the 2022 pictures of it. You don't want to be looking for what it looks like now. You want to see what it was in 2022.
Okay, very good, very good. So are you, Jawz, are you at where locals turn up from time to time, locals from time to time? Is that the line? Anyway, is that where you're at right now? Is that where have you found that spot? Is that where you think it is?
If I had $1 for every time I thought I found where the locals turned up, I'd probably retire and just go full-time treasure hunting.
I hear you. I'll tell you that that's one of the bigger clues I've struggled with, because everywhere I go, you start thinking of it. I was in a place where there were tons of bird feeders around, and I'm like, oh, that's where the birds in this bird sanctuary hang out, or it's a Pokemon Go stop or a gym or something like that. So I definitely, oh my gosh, like trying to narrow that one down has been definitely a challenge. But I think for me, like I'm definitely on board with, like, it starts with Froakie when he meets Froakie, and then like we follow it straight through, and those are where the clues are. I think there are confirmers in the other parts of the book, but I'm pretty confident in my idea. Well, and we all are in what in that kind of top to bottom from Froakie's story. And shout out to Chaz McGruber. I laid that all out on his podcast a couple weeks ago. Their Treasure Inside edition. Kudos to them. Shout out. But yeah, so that's where I am on that, and I see a lot of people jumping around back and forth to stuff, and again, like we say a lot on Discord, like no, everybody's right until someone comes up with a box. So it is what it is. Let's hit on real quick the overexposed picture. Like, just get some thoughts on that. Like Megan, I know where you stand on that, but you're welcome to, if you want to go and tell me what your thoughts are on it. What's the relevance of it? How important is it? Are there things that you're seeing in there that we're missing?
Yeah, I'll start with my very first. So I had it cut out. I had a magnifying glass, and that's why I kept going back to Irby. I had it completely drawn out where that picture matched Irby's roads completely. And so looking back, I'm like, wow, you really got crazy there. That was insane that you were able to draw roads and see that in there. And of course, my family is like, what are you doing? Like, no, I can't see a single thing that you're telling me. And now, months, almost a year later, I think that it's showing all three stories in it. I think that they overlay the top of it, and that's why we can't make it out, because there are three stories in there. And that's why I asked this week about Mewtwo. Like, what's Mewtwo? Like, Mewtwo's not in the story. I can't find her number anywhere in anything that's relevant. And somebody jumped in and said maybe that's the starting point. If you're playing a board game, she's the first square that everybody is standing in. That's where we launch from. And so if you look at her closely, maybe you can see the three different stories right around her. And that's why we can't make anything out, because there's a lot going on in there. And so I don't think it's as easy as just looking in there and finding Pokemon and jumping around a real city. I think it's got a lot more to it than what I originally thought that you could do.
Okay.
But I will say, when Jawz's father found the rock wall, I have been searching one spot and been working on the whole historical point. I've gone there. I planned a family trip to go back there and solve it from there, because I'm certain it's there. And Jawz did show me one photo, and I found it in real life, and I was like, wow, he may be right. It's the closest match I've ever seen.
So it's at the same location that Jawz is at?
The photo his father-in-law found, yeah. Where
Okay.
I think the box is, where my total solve is at, nope.
Oh, okay. Well, Jawz, you kind of reported back to us that was kind of a treacherous kind of spot that you were looking at there.
So
So
here's my view of the purple picture, and I'm terrible with the purple picture. Megan will tell you this. Like, since day one of us being friends, she would send me something and be like, can you see this? I'm like, I can't see anything. Like, my vision is terrible. So for me to try and figure out clues in this picture, it's ridiculous to me. But what I do think, from where I'm looking, I don't think it's one location. I think there are multiple layers to this picture, because I can show you one rock in a completely different area, which is what originally sparked me going to this area, that matches a rock in that picture perfectly, that's not in the area where the one is that Megan saw that now she believes is the right spot. So I do think there are multiple photos of things in there, and there's probably some stuff in there that we don't really need to worry about, I'm sure, too, like red herrings in there, like the stuff that kind of looks like a Pokemon. Like, to me, it has to either look like it or not. Like, if he wants to hide a Pokemon in this picture, it needs to look like it, so it can be a clue that we can figure out. Like, at the end of the day, I don't want to say I missed a clue because I looked at a purple blob and I didn't realize it was a Slowpoke. Like, that's not going to work to me. So I do see real locations in the picture. But other than that, I have a hard time seeing anything in the photo. So I get more of my clues from the chapter. And then Megan will send me things and be like, look at this in the picture. And I'll be like, I would have never seen that without you. Like, thank you. So that's kind of where I am on that picture.
Okay, it's a really interesting thought, and really that where you're at. And again, we're going to run the gambit on it, because I'll just tell you that the only thing I think it's important in there is Mewtwo or Greninja, depending on who you think it is. Interesting to me, Jawz, that don't feel like there's other like pictures of Pokemon in there because I think people are turning this into a Rorschach test. Rorschach, I don't know, I'm saying that wrong. You know, like what do you see here? And I think I'm definitely not on board with that. But it's interesting that you don't buy it on the side of people looking at Pokemon, but you're willing to use it to match up rocks in different locations, which I think could, again, could be very, that's I think a slippery slope. Like rocks are rocks and it could make, you know what I mean? Like, so interesting. I think that you're on that kind of wavelength with this, that you're kind of half in the boat and half out of the boat. Like
So-
I can see locations, but I'm not sure about other Pokemon. So, but very interesting to hear that.
I will say that the first rock that led me to the area is pretty famous. So if you know the location,
Okay.
you will recognize the rock and know where I am if you find the rock like I did. So
Okay, I get it. I get it. I just Bruce Spike logical brain is having a hard time with like imagining pictures of rocks in this imaginary. Again, we're here to agree to disagree and share stuff, and it's definitely an interesting approach. I just found your kind of little dichotomy there of like this doesn't work, but this does. So no, interesting. Do we think it's good.
I will say on the picture is not what made me decide that I believe this is the correct location. As I said, the clues in the chapter are what got me there, and the pictures have kind of been confirmers since I've been there.
Perfect. Fair enough. Yeah. Again, my argument still stands, but Greg, is it a Greninja or Mewtwo? Does it matter? What's in there? Is he pointing at the box? Is it what?
If I knew the answer to that,
it would make more sense. It would make more sense if it was Greninja, but it sure looks like Mewtwo.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that was most people's initial thought, but the fact, like you said, Megan, is like Mewtwo's not even mentioned in the story, so why not be Greninja? And since we can't use actual characters, he's got to do some kind of artistic representation. So, yeah, to me, I don't think it matters. I think it's basically it boils down to just Mewtwo is pointing in a direction you need to go look. So, but that's my where I've landed. Trust me, I've gone through the machinations of this. This is a half a page picture in this book. Like it's got to be way more important than this. And finally, I just went, no, it's not. So I don't know. Maybe because I couldn't come up with any other ideas. I guess that's probably why I just gave up and went with the easy answer. Okay, when's your next boots on the ground, Megan?
Next weekend, not this one. The 7th, hopefully.
The 7th. Okay, just 2 days. Is that what we're looking at?
Yep.
Can you give us any kind of clues or hints or ideas of where you're going? Are you going? You're taking Jawz' spot, aren't you? You're going to where Jawz is.
So this other spot that's not Jawz's. I've been working on it with someone else, and so I've been sworn to secrecy on it. But we do it completely different. It's completely historical. All of the clues that are lining up for us. It's wordplay with some of the words that he says, and then it completely boots on the ground confirmers. Some of the things that I've seen on my first trip there, word for word from the book. So my partner and I have decided if it is not there, there's definitely going to be a lawsuit, because when we tell you why we're there and why we think it's like it's a crime for it to not be there as well as it matches. And it's not from the pictures in the book. None of the pictures apply to it. Completely word confirming and historically confirming.
Oh,
so it's completely different than how I've been helping Jawz work his puzzle.
Oh, got it. Okay, you've been giving Jawz just a bunch of kind of garbage. Here, look at this, Jawz. Look at this. Check this out. You got the lock on the real stuff.
Yeah, it's how we started our relationship, because I knew he was so stuck on where he was at that if I shared anything of mine, he wasn't going, because he totally is where he's at. And so and I swore to him I wouldn't go to his spot, and so he followed me blindly. But he would send me information, and I only half listened to his stuff because I'm like, you're wrong, of course it's my area is right. And now I'm like, hey, did you know this about his location? And he's like, I've been telling you this for months.
That's
I'm
funny.
like, well, I guess you might have been right.
If I had a nickel for every time I tried to talk Jawz out of his solve, I'd have a
Right.
handful of nickels. But no, that's exciting. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on that, if at some point. But good luck to you, Jawz. When's your next boots on the ground, buddy? I know you're going exactly where you were before, but let's.
Yeah.
What's your timeline?
No shocker, I will be in Arkansas again. And not the same as Megan, not this weekend, but next weekend I'll be heading up.
Okay, got it. For perspective, for the audience out there, we're recording this on the 28th of October, so they're talking about going out the 7th, 8th, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So very good. For me, I'm heading out to towards Alabama in a couple days. November 1st, I'll be at my location. Looking for it. I'm feeling pretty good, as we all do. But also I'm driving there, so I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity, and I'm going to try to drive by and actually meet some of these wonderful folks in person. And I really want to take a selfie at BNR just because of all the crap I get from the Arkansas Groupthink Mafia, as I affectionately label you guys. To show that I checked it out, man. I looked, it wasn't there. But anyway, so well, very good, very good. Any parting shots on the Pokemon box before we wrap this thing up?
I hope you find it and this podcast ends in a different way.
I can't agree with you more. I think that's the one thing that we agreed on in the year that we've known each other. So, yeah, it'd be great to be able to pull out the next episode and go, here's the box. So that would be fantastic. So, all right, yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys on the road here, hopefully in the next couple weeks. And great job tonight. I appreciate you guys wanting to do this pod with me and share our thoughts and ideas and our experiences, boots on the ground. I think it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys, audience, have enjoyed it. And please subscribe to us. X marks the pod, and you can reach out to us if you have any questions or comments. xmarksthepod@gmail.com. We'll definitely.
Adventures calling, treasure awaits. Join us on a journey, let's open the gates. Welcome to the pod where the treasure is found. X marks the pod, let's gather around.